This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 28. Classic Idents, exclusive contents, and family laments.
Superman.
Hi and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 28. Classic Idents, exclusive contents, and family laments. It's been 11 years since the world of TV lost one of its most influential writers and producers, Stephen J. Cannell, who passed away on September 29th, 2010, aged just 69. So we thought it only right and proper that we should dedicate this episode to him and also feature some of the key standout moments of his career at the end of this show.
Hear, hear.
So along with the other news and detritus that we normally fill you with the podcast, we will be delving into more detail about some of the key series that stood out for us as kids.
A snapshot of his career.
There we go. 69, which is the new 27, because it used to be everyone that was famous died when they were 27, and now it's 69 when the likes of Alan Rickman, David Bowie, and also Stephen J. Cannell have also passed away at 69.
Yeah, maybe if you're on TV, you have to multiply 27 or something. We need Carol Vorderman to work that one out.
Is that pi? No.
Carol Vorderman's pi.
I don't want to go there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I would. Would I? I don't know. I'm confused now. Anywho, so
would you like to divide or multiply?
Or conquer?
Divide, multiply. Would you like to add something?
I don't know whether I want to talk about multiplying.
You're going redder. You're going redder.
So,
what about square root?
Let's leave it there. Unless you want to talk about maths.
I teach English. I don't know anything about maths. I know what none of those words meant.
All you need to do is say, if anyone asks you about maths, to sound really intelligent, say, yeah, maths, it's just all patterns.
I just say, like, maths sucks, read a book.
What, a maths book?
No.
Oh, come on, we're not talking about maths. No.
You started it.
Yeah,
your Carol Vorderman fetish.
You mentioned Carol Vorderman.
And then you went off the deep.
Let's go. So, yes, we are spending a lot of the episode featuring Stephen J. Cannell, but we've also got our usual news and banter as well about what we should...
Bants.
about what we've been up to this week. Must explain to the listeners, we do have a special sound effect for the night of constant rain.
We're not playing hippie music to calm you down and make you go to sleep or anything like that.
Hey,
we're under attack by Mother Nature.
We're remembering Stephen J. Cannell. Only fitting that we have the sound of rain in the background. So yeah, we are in a torrent of rain tonight, which I think adds to the ambience.
But we're still here. We're
Maybe
still
we
doing
could set up sort of a Patreon page to fund a new roof.
We're not a church.
The Church of Cult Faction does sound quite good though.
Not yet.
Just don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Testify, my brothers and sisters. The Lord, he came down. He sent the rain down to them Cult Faction boys.
Okay, so as I said, a little bit of a different format tonight. We are going to have the normal banter. We are going to have some news. We are going to have a
Mother Love Bone. Yeah, sorry, Karen.
We are going to have a little bit of rain.
Where that came from.
But then we're going to spend a little bit of time just reminiscing on the life and times of Stephen J. Cannell and
And
all of...
and his many fantastic creations.
Yeah,
but to be clear, we're not going to go through every single one of those.
I was going to say,
detail.
looking on Wikipedia about the amount of content that Stephen J. Cannell was involved in, we are absolutely not going to talk about everything, but we will pick on our highlights. So, it's going to be an action-packed episode this week, whether you like it or not, listener. I'm going to throw it...
Listeners, there's more than one.
No,
I'm
we're
talking
doing
to...
the Wogan school of broadcasting.
I'm talking
Dear
to
listener.
the listener right
Okay.
now.
Just say, you know,
It's that individual...
there's at
yeah.
least 5.
So, Summers, I'm going to come straight to you now that you can remember something that you've been watching this week.
It's been a busy week.
I'm not dissing you. I'm just saying. Let's go.
Marvel What If this week was a unique episode where it was basically set on the fact that Thor and Loki were not brought up together as brothers.
Is this the one where where Loki actually stays where he is and
Yeah.
becomes really happy?
He becomes like he's a frost giant.
Yeah,
which
but
is
he's
what he was,
happy doing it,
And Thor basically is just out for the party.
which is what he was.
Yeah, and he finds Vegas and just invites basically every Marvel character from space is in Vegas on a piss up basically, and Earth
That
can
sounds
no
like a
longer,
movie I'd want to watch.
And Earth can no longer cope with it, so they call for Captain Marvel, who comes back, and she tries to stop Thor, and
Hold on, she?
Captain Marvel.
Oh, Captain Marvel. Oh, sorry,
And then,
I was thinking Captain America.
No, he wasn't there. I'm guessing he's still frozen in ice because we never got to him because Thor's on a piss up. And there's one point where Loki comes into it and he's a frost giant and it all looks like it's about to kick off. And then they like do this high five handshake thing. And he's like, "Yo, my brother from another mother."
And did they do like a big banger dance at the end?
there are many nice little references and different characters popping up through the sort of. At one point, it's like the morning after, and there's just like half of Vegas is decimated in the party, and there's like various heroes and villains laying around drunk, like a student party.
So this makes it up for last week's What If.
Yeah. Well, last week it was just weird. It didn't really get it right.
You didn't
Whereas
like
this
it.
one, what now? So basically, it was I didn't, so you shouldn't. But this week's one, there's a really nice ending. Spoilers, where after battling for ages, Captain Marvel basically does the old Yellow Pages advert and goes and tells Thor's mum what he's been up to, and it's all going bad, and then Thor has to get all the heroes back together and they have to clean up and tidy up planet Earth and Vegas.
Oh, I thought you were talking about J.R. Hartley.
No, not J.R. Hartley. He didn't go fly
He goes
fishing.
fly fishing, yeah.
No, it's the one where they the parents are at the airport.
My
Who's she?
parents
Who's
fly
she?
back today.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
We
and
need a
then
new carpet.
they have
Just
to tidy
possibly
everything
could
up.
save my life.
Yeah, and that was basically what happens.
So I remember that, but I don't remember what I watched on TV last week.
We haven't come to you yet.
I'm
You
sorry,
you still have a couple of
Yeah.
minutes.
And pretty much the rest of my free time.
Yes, you do. You do. We talked about something that you've watched 2
yeah.
episodes of.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're still on with
Yeah.
Brett. I'll come to you in a minute.
Okay,
Don't worry.
sorry.
But you just keep that
That's
in
because
your head.
you didn't introduce us, so I don't know
Dudes.
what we,
Yeah. It's
It's all a bit weird.
I didn't. I went
No, you
because
went straight into it.
that wasn't in the notes.
They don't know who's talking. It could be,
I'm in the room, and it's my turn.
Oh,
And you're
here we
just talking
go.
at me.
Okay.
My airtime.
Come on, you're
taking
using up
my
Brett's
segments.
airtime.
This is my bit. We have a bit each at the beginning.
This is Brett Summers speaking. Go, Brett Summers.
I'm
No,
just
this
going
is
to cut
Brett
you out
Summers
completely.
speaking.
Edit you out, you know.
He's got the power.
Why's my mic stop?
Is this going to be a 2-hour long episode?
It may be.
Okay.
And the other thing I've mainly been watching is I'm now pretty much all the way through season 2 of The Sopranos.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I'm still going through that.
How many seasons were there again? 6.
6.
Yeah.
So I'm nearly there. Some faces that we might remember are Robert Patrick, the evil Terminator.
Yeah,
And then he
yeah.
ended up in Sons of Anarchy, and he was Johnny Cash's dad in the film, and loads of other cool stuff since. He's a sports shop owner who's one of Tony's friends and neighbours who gets in a little bit too deep in a card game and owes him a few £1,000 million It's
a few thousand million pounds, like $1 billion.
Well,
he owes him $1 billion.
Well, basically, he tries to play another game to make up for the money he lost
That's
before.
a big game.
And it jumps a bit more.
I mean, that's Bill Gates level.
And he's in deep.
Very deep.
His brother-in-law tries to help him, but that doesn't work. But his brother-in-law is Jake from Jake and the Fat Man. I can't remember the actor's name.
That helps.
But he pops up for a couple. But if you know Jake and the Fat Man, and he's been in loads of other stuff, you'll know what I'm on about. Which I think is some other. But there's a few other faces and familiar people. Tony's now, like his lawyer dude's come into it, who is the mayor of New York and Ghostbusters.
Yep.
So you know, and we're getting that general Italian-American cast as it's starting to find its feet and set out the Sopranos world now, because the first series is more the organisation, how it's set up, who all the people are. Now we're expanding out a bit. We're meeting neighbours, we're meeting other people, the guys from the other town that come in now and then, you know, and it's kind of doing that. Is it the best season? No, it's not as cool as I remember it being, but knowing what happens later, there's a lot being. It's still good because it's Sopranos, but by their standard, not the best season. But a lot of little things being put in place that will be big things later on. Setting up the stool, I would say.
So anything else other than Sopranos and What If?
I do need to see Squid Game, which you
Yes,
excellently reviewed on the Cult Faction website, cultfaction.com. Get over there now. And the kids at school are starting to talk about it. So
Squid
it's
Games.
making its way into the youth.
Squid's making waves with the youth.
There we go.
But I think they just like Japanese stuff that's sick. And
well, we talked about the manga stuff that they're into.
Yeah, that's
the
what I
other
mean.
week,
So,
didn't we?
you know, a bit of real life Japanese stuff. Yeah, they don't even seem that bothered by. Is it subtitled? Or is it dubbed over? I haven't seen it yet.
You know what? The testament to it is I don't remember.
No, because I'm just really interested.
So
if they are reading it and it's some of my class,
well done.
I was just impressed by that, and I was just like, you know, if it's getting kids reading, whether or not they should be watching it or not, maybe parents, get a few more Asian horrors in front of your kids, a few gruesome things.
Just shove them out to South Korea for 6 months to learn the lingo.
One of my year 9s today asked me if I'd seen what's it called?
I don't know.
It's not The Lift. What's it called? No, when we're in the prison and it goes up and down with the food on it.
No.
The Spanish. Oh.
Elevator.
Escalator.
You've not seen it? It's a
Travelator.
really, really dark film.
Here we go. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
narrow
a Google,
404 conversation again, isn't it?
Do you want me just to move on to Damien?
The platform.
In what world does food move up and down on a platform?
In this film, apparently.
Yeah. Have you not seen the platform?
I know of it. That's where
Yeah.
there is it goes. It's continuously.
Yeah, it goes. Yes, all the food goes at the top, and the higher you are up in the prison, like the better. So basically, the food starts at the top, and then whoever's at the bottom, you know, it goes further down and down and down. There's like loads of layers. So if you're at the bottom, you just get whatever's left over, and like people have spat stuff out, pissed on it, shit on it.
Why would you piss on it?
Because you don't care about the people below you.
Yeah, but
I think the whole thing is a metaphor on society.
yeah, but I don't mean in a funny way. If there's a platform with food on, I'm going to take the food and I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to.
No,
Yeah, but if you have no toilet facilities, maybe and you don't want to sit in your own shit, the only place where you can take a dump and then it goes is on the
stops
platform.
on each because it's like you're in like a rectangle with a hole in the floor
Hold on.
that goes up and down.
I'm not going to talk about it now because I haven't seen it. What's it on?
And I believe it's on Netflix.
Right, so I might watch that. And then
Yeah,
I can...
it's Spanish, but again subtitled. But again, one of my year 9s like, "Sir, have you seen the platform?" And he's telling me all about it. I said, "I know the film you're on about."
And then did you say, should you be watching the
I
platform?
did ask him that, and then he pointed out some of the other things he's watching, and I thought, well, that's probably not that bad. So, but again, as someone who wouldn't pick up a book and read, he sat through that. So I was kind of like, I see a new way here. But the only problem is I'm probably going to get kicked out if I let him watch anything like that.
Teaching by subtitles. There you go, Brett.
Well, yeah, it seems to be working, especially if it's really disturbing, gruesome stuff.
If only there was a learning manga comic for English.
Yeah, I do
Can you
have
Manga Macbeth?
got it, and then Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah,
I have them already.
So anything else, or do I move on to Damien Hicks, who I didn't introduce
I'll
earlier?
remember something else in a minute.
All right, Damien Hicks.
Yes.
What have you mainly been watching this week?
Not a lot.
Yes, but you remembered what you've been watching.
I did. I started to watch Midnight Mass.
Okay, so this is cool for me because I've seen it.
Isn't that
Have you?
usually on Christmas Eve?
No, I mean I've seen it around.
Oh, right.
That's on Christmas Eve, isn't it?
Normally. But this is the latest.
And this has just dropped on Netflix.
I want to say Netflix. I'm thinking. Oh.
It's one of them. It's Prime on Netflix.
No, I think it's Netflix.
I think it's
I'm
Netflix.
certain it's Netflix.
Hey, if only
It
there
doesn't
was a
matter.
Google Meister's doing it now.
Yeah, he's on the case.
Do you remember what was that thing on Channel 4 with the Games Master?
Games
Was it
Master?
Games Master?
Yeah, it's Games Master. But who is the
Patrick.
Netflix.
Patrick Moore?
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Instead of got a gammy eye, he's got a gammy foot.
Yeah.
Not my fault.
Games Master. What
I remember
what
when
streaming services is it on?
I've already said.
Netflix.
Yeah, you weren't listening. I was
No.
listening. It's Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. I remember when Patrick Moore came to Goblets.
Cool.
Sat down there. Took him about half an hour to get down the stairs with his entourage. Walked up and down, shook his head and walked out again.
Well, to be fair,
Yeah, can't blame him for that.
we've all done that at some point in our lives.
It just took him that long because obviously how he was at that point.
I think
to
he'd
get
have a
down the
drink at
stairs.
least.
Yeah, he'd do something and then leave.
I'm assuming Goblets isn't around anymore.
It's the
Belgium and Blues.
Belgium and Blues, yeah.
Oh,
So
we
it's
should
real
do a
ale.
pub crawl.
Yeah.
Maybe near Christmas time.
Or we could just do one because, you know,
'Cause
we're
that's
cool and still hip and
What
shit.
cool people do.
Yeah, no, but it's like October
Cool
now,
people that
and
haven't
we're
got
busy.
kids and have
But
to
yeah, we
get
should
up
do a
at
pub
5
crawl.
o'clock in the
Visit
morning.
Goblets and some of the other haunts.
It's not Goblets anymore. You can't visit Goblets anymore.
Yeah, but
It's
you get my
Belgium and
point.
Blues.
What used to
Hall
be
and,
Goblets?
it's all Hall and Oates, mate. She's gone.
Right. Anyway, Damien
Anyway,
Hicks.
yes.
Tell me about why is Midnight Mass no longer a Christmas thing? What's happening?
I didn't say it was no longer a Christmas thing. It's put
I was
words
just
into
trying
my
to
mouth.
link it back
I
in.
know you
so
were. Yeah.
shit on my link. God.
So this is the latest horror mini series from Mike something or another. Forgotten his name. This is
Mike Flanagan.
That's the fella. Yeah. See, I can remember a Yellow Pages advert from
That's a
1987,
Google.
but not Mike. What did you say his name was?
Flanagan.
Yeah, him. So this is his latest horror vehicle. 2 episodes in, and I swear blind, he's just rehashing the Mothman
Prophecies?
folklore. No, not the Mothman Prophecies to film. It's not, because that's got not really that great and really covers it too well.
Is it any good?
No.
Okay.
Well, it could be. I'm only 2 episodes in.
Yeah, I
but,
know, but
you know-
if you're 2 episodes in and you don't like it,
I'm not saying I didn't like it. It's just the fact that you've got.
Are they doing it wrong?
I don't know.
they're not doing it right. by
I
sound of
don't
it.
know if that's what he's going for, but so far, 2 episodes in, there's a part of the island that no one goes to, and some kids
So it's
see.
on an island. Is that the?
They're on. This is set on an island.
Yeah, so it's set on an island.
But there's part of that island that no one really goes to, and it's full of feral cats. But the kids
I've
go
seen
there
the
getting
trailer.
drunk.
I've seen
or
the trailer.
getting stoned.
I'm there
Yeah,
now.
and that basically is a TNT area of where the Mothman sightings first took place. There was an oil spill a couple of years. Go on, what you look at? What?
No, there's a vicar or something.
There's a vicar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
remember
Hence
the
Midnight
trailer now.
Mass.
yeah, the vicar could quite conceivably be his equivalent of Indrid Cold, or the guy that the story is currently based around. So this guy's been into prison for drunk driving. He killed someone. He's gone back home to his hometown after being let out of prison for 4 years. He could be the Indrid Cold character, or possibly the guy with a really cool name that I keep forgetting. Woodrow, not Cheeseburger, Woodrow Derenberger, who's the guy that had an encounter with the Grinning Man. That's also part of the Mothman mythology and all that sort of stuff. So it seems to be taking loads of elements of that folklore, myth, urban legend, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and rehashing it and turning it into something that is supposed to be scary, but nothing scary has happened yet. All in all,
It's a bit
it's
meh
all right.
at the moment.
But to be
Is
fair,
it gonna be? If it's something like what's it called? Oh man, loose.
We're on fire tonight, aren't we?
Oh no, I'm really good. The haunted house one that was amazing.
No, that wasn't.
Not Bly. That was the one that was. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say as well. Not Bly. Hill House.
Mm.
Hill House. Is it something like where it is just a limited story, or is this an
I
ongoing
think so.
series?
I think it's only 9 episodes, but so I've seen
So I
online.
can watch something like that. Then.
I've seen on a couple of websites that say the ending of Midnight Mass explained, or the twist in Midnight Mass
Ooh,
explained. So
there's a twist.
yeah, but my thinking is the twist is that he's just rehashed the Mothman folklore, or even the Jersey Devil is part of. You could argue that he's also using elements of the Jersey Devil in the conversation, which I know to you guys means nothing, but the crazy shit that I listen
Jersey-
to.
I know.
Hey,
but
whoa
I
there,
know the
Leslie.
Jersey
would
Devil,
you
eh?
necessarily spot
You know,
a
it's-
reference
oh
to the
my God.
Jersey Devil in a TV
See,
show
we
about a
encourage
crazy
your
island?
programs. You
Yeah,
just
I
say,
know,
"Oh,
look
the
at him."
shit," and
Yeah.
then don't watch it. I'm not watching that shit.
Alright, so basically I'm going to wait for you to watch the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, I reckon we'll,
And then
we'll be
next
done
week,
by the end of
give
the
me a
week.
thumbs
Yeah.
up or a thumbs down. If it's a thumbs down, obviously I'm not going to watch it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass. And the other thing I've watched is, I think, is it Code 404 or is it Arrow 404?
Code 404.
Code 404.
I've got that. I've got that. I'm double checking now. I've got that recorded at the moment.
Yeah.
I haven't got
So-
to it yet.
It's as funny as the last season. So this is season 2. It's dropped a couple of weeks ago apparently, but didn't even notice. 3 or 4 episodes in, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I think it's
It's
one of
stupid.
those ones. I think it's one of those ones where they're doing it. It's on an episode a week, but they've put it all up already. You know, I think it's a bit like that
Yeah, you're right, because I think I'm now ahead of what's on.
on the
Linear
on the
broadcast,
television
yeah.
channel.
But yeah, don't need to spend much time on it. We went over it last week in a roundabout way.
But
not
it's
knowing
good,
what it's
and you
called.
should watch it.
Yeah, it's good and you should watch it. And the only other thing is this week Sam has been Future Boy, a PA and a pregnant teenager trying to keep hold of her baby.
Is that the one with the professor?
Future Boy,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
it's,
that's
it's,
the one. The time
I
travel
tell you
show.
what, I was
'Cause he's the
so
dude who
sad.
was in
It
the
was
Big
on
Bang
Sunday
Theory, wasn't he?
afternoon. Yeah, well, it's not him, but it's exactly the same principle as that episode of The Big Bang Theory.
No, the one in he the guy that's the old professor that's Sheldon's hero. Isn't it the same actor?
No.
Who was the actor?
We're not
Don't
doing
know.
this.
No,
No,
we're not doing The Big
no.
Bang Theory.
No, I mean, we're not doing this whole thing where you two don't know something and we spend 10 minutes for you to Google it. We're not doing that.
Yes.
So, fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is a great episode, Dan.
It is a
Yeah.
good
like-
episode.
It
I
is a good
remember that
really
episode.
like the
Because
ending
it
of it.
basically ends with a letter from Sam to the professor asking if time travel was possible, and then he gives his explanation to Sam, which was the explanation that Sam gave him earlier in the episode. I got well excited because we sat there Sunday afternoon. It's on. Sarah's not really paying much attention to what's going on, and I go, "It's my favourite episode. Look."
My
And then-
apologies, Richard Hurd.
What about him
He's the professor.
in
What we're talking about now.
Quantum Leap?
Yeah.
Right.
Remember, he was the evil commander in V as well,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and the boss in T.J. Hooker.
Alright,
Okay.
there we go.
That was
There we
it.
go.
I'm happy now.
Thank you.
Glad you are.
Damien, anything else?
No. So what about you then, Paul? What have you been watching?
Okay,
As
so...
if you haven't been sat on the edge of the seat waiting to be asked.
No. Well, after listening to you guys, I maybe
You
have,
want
a
to
little,
scale it down a bit?
have a little concern that I might be watching too much telly just for the sake of Cold Faction podcast.
Well, I've watched about 15 episodes of Sopranos. Don't worry.
Okay, so last week we had a big discussion, and this is constant discussion we have about streaming services and what's available. And last week we were talking about Apple and the amount of content or lack of potential content available on Apple, and then we recognised the fact that Ted Lasso has recently won 7 Emmys. So started watching that and watched both series over the last week. It's not really cult faction genre.
It may grow to be a cult comedy.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not cult faction, is what
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But
Okay.
I was trying to justify you watching it.
Well, I watched it for the team. Okay, and to validate whether it's worth getting Apple TV, and Ted Lasso is brilliant. It's really, really good. So whilst it's not necessarily the cult faction genre, if you have Apple TV, give it a watch. It's really good. And the fact that I've watched both series,
You have got shares, haven't you?
Squid Game, yes. So thanks, Brett. Did the review of episode 1. That's on Cult Faction. I've watched episode 2 and 3.
So stay tuned for the reviews, people.
Yeah, I will try and get them out there by the time of this podcast release. So the other thing that I have done, obviously, the next episode of C, it's still very slow. Coming back to my previous point, where is this a problem with the whole COVID thing, or is this just bad script writing? Or no, not script writing, but is this just bad series? I generally don't know. But the fact that Jason Momoa has returned back and met up with his estranged wife, met up with his husband, her new husband rather, and didn't instantly kill him on sight, which is what Jason Momoa probably would be doing. But
he can't see him.
Well, no.
So how can he kill him on sight?
But it's kind of nonsensical at the moment. I'm getting a bit bored of C.
So do you think the idea has run its course?
I think season 2 hasn't.
Do you think they had like 2 or 3 ideas and they've
no
done them and run it? Because the whole again, not having seen any of it and just going off the trailer, the whole kind of bit was like it was Dave Bautista was coming into it and this was going to be like a big deal.
Yeah, but they're either elongating things too much. I'm not quite sure whether that was because, as I said, they had production issues.
With the good old COVID and that, I suppose.
But it really feels like they're padding for the sake of padding, and it's as a watcher, which is pun intended. But with Game of Thrones, there was a big action thing every episode.
Or at least some sort of memorable confrontation of.
And some boobs.
Maybe some wenches and boobs and dwarves.
But with C,
in that order,
the first episode was cool, but since then it's just deteriorating.
I think you're right. I think it's thingy. Jesus. Not Jesus. It's not Jesus. It's COVID.
Yeah.
1 bit of midnight mass. He's everywhere now.
Hallelujah, I'm converted.
But it'll be interesting to see if it just completely stagnates this whole season. Because if it carries on doing it, then I don't know.
I wonder if it's one of those shows that might be better, like the old Alien Nation, where they did the TV series, and then they just had like, I think like sort of once a year or whatever, they had like a sort of TV movie special where it was like the next bit to move it on, rather than just
no.
Yeah, that's a definitive no.
So there's no reason that season 2 should be going as it is if there's decent script writing. The story's there, but for whatever reason, as I said, maybe it's reasons we don't know about, production wise,
it could just be bad editing.
it's just meandered too long.
Maybe Jack Snyder's got on board somewhere.
Maybe
secretly
hasn't gone black and white yet.
Okay.
They wouldn't know.
But anyway, I'll continue to watch and feedback, but at the moment it's still not improving. The big one for me this week was Apple TV dropped the first 2 episodes of Foundation.
Who dropped it?
Apple TV. If you want to buy shares, they are available. So as we've talked about many times, I've been looking forward to Foundation probably since my first subscription to Apple TV.
Wasn't that the reason you did subscribe?
No, it was free because I got my iPhone, so you get a free subscription. But so and we know there's limited content, but we were promised a blockbuster. We were promised something a spectacular
did you
TV
get it?
show.
Did you get it? Because you read the books, haven't you?
Yeah. But Foundation basically killed the story. Nothing. Yeah, so far. they've changed the characters around and the sexes of the characters, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But most of the storylines completely changed. And you kind of go two ways, because Foundation is not an exciting story for the first 200 pages or whatever. So I could get why they were doing that, but it's still not exciting. So do something. I mean, it looks bloody good. So if you haven't read the Foundation novels, you're going to be one type of watcher. If you have read the Foundation novels, it's going to be another, obviously. So what
you're
we
gonna
do
be either a toxic chowderhead or someone who just enjoys the show.
No, but this is my point. So if
This is his point, man.
Yeah.
So if you have read the novels, and if you haven't read the novels, it doesn't matter. So there are some good things. We were promised a spectacular series.
Were we? Where was this written down?
From the spiel.
It's not like Apple have lied to people before.
So visually, the scenery is spectacular. Some of the special effects are a bit ropey, so there's a little bit of
It sounds like the iPhone.
but there's a little bit with almost like the what Luke goes in the speed thing with no wheels in Star Wars. The what is it?
The snow speeder.
Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser. There's like
Look at me! I got a Star Wars reference right.
There's like a version of
weird shit
of the Land Cruiser, and the special effects for that look ropey. That aside, it does look stunning. However, from a fan of the books, it's verges away from the storyline completely.
Yeah, he wore a blue hat, and in episode 1 it was
No,
red.
No, it's completely different. I'm not going to give too much away because there would be many spoilers.
I mean, changes happen and things,
Which is fine.
I get, but how much has it, without giving much away, how much of it has been changed then, shall we say?
I can kind of see why they've done it, because the books, to be fair, aren't blockbuster action from the get-go. So they've tried to make this, we've got a bad guy that just so happens to be a bad guy, his cloned brother and his younger version self, and his other cloned younger version of themselves. So there's 3 bad guys, all clones. That kind of a new introduction, and I don't mind that so much. That's okay. Then you've got Harry Seldon, where the actor's good at what he does, but again the character is different to the books, and the leaving of the series is different of the books as well. They've introduced 2 different kind of characters, i.e. the sex is different. They've turned males into females, and I'm all for that. Nothing against that. But for one of the characters, it's still new. They're kind of in a different world, and there's in the future, 35 years in the future, and they're building up to her main role in the series, which is cool. But for Gale, or Gal, they should be called, but they're calling her Gale because she's a girl. They've tried to make her the main character, but in some ways they've given her lots of voiceovers, so it almost feels like you're watching an episode of Grey's Anatomy, and they're doing that to almost explain some of the books. So if you haven't read the book, then they're doing the voiceover for the watcher to try and pad in some of the missing bits, but it just comes across as a bad episode of Grey's Anatomy.
That doesn't sound that exciting at all.
No, exactly. And there's also not, because if you're going to go away from the books and make it a big blockbuster, fine, but there's not really much action in it either. There's a few set scenes of action.
So how many episodes in are we?
2. There's only 2 that's being released at the moment.
Okay.
But as I said,
and these are how long?
An hour. So there's
an hour long.
Big chunks of episodes.
Yeah, I'd have given up by now.
Well, again, I'm going to carry on for the podcast. You know, I'm a trooper.
Well,
And,
you say that.
but I also
There's going to be 10 altogether, apparently.
yeah, but there's other books as well that they could call upon should this go well.
Yeah, we said that about what was the other one? The superheroes.
Jupiter's Arse Gravy. Yeah.
Jupiter's Legacy. There's a lot more to go through, but we didn't see it.
Yeah, I just think they've missed a trick. Do it one way completely, i.e. big blockbuster action Game of Thrones in space.
But then you just didn't you say that the books themselves aren't all action, not superhero. I don't mean superhero in the
No, absolutely.
Marvel Arse Gravy sense. I
You're
mean,
completely
they're
right.
not all,
So this is what I mean. At the moment,
so they can't if they're gonna
no, but at the moment they're in a quagmire because
quagmire.
Quagmire.
right,
Giggity
whatever.
giggity.
Because they're not pleasing the fans because it's with the true die hard fans of
Chowderheads.
yeah, because it's completely different to the novels. And if I'm honest, even if I hadn't read the books and if I was a innocent bystander as it were, I wouldn't be completely happy with this. They try to do a
What was that?
mishmash.
What's the thing that's coming back? I think it's this year. The dude with the really long hair just wanders around the woods with a minstrel.
Oh,
And I
The
don't mean
Witcher,
the chocolate.
The Witcher.
Yeah. When I first started watching that, it's just a bloke wandering around in the woods, not really doing a lot. But then you watch it if you think of it as the whole series, it's actually quite enjoyable.
Which is
Hence
why
my
I'm giving
point.
it
You're
the
2
benefit of the
episodes
doubt.
in, so
Yeah,
I just find it really weird that someone like Isaac Asimov, who's written so many well-regarded and highly held-up science fiction stories and books and novels and short stories, just really hasn't had that sort of franchise kind of thing. Like if he did science fiction writers,
But
he'd
then-
probably be one of the first people
no,
you
but
mention.
this comes back to my point: is that his books are science fiction sagas, and the whole point about them
Is they need to be a saga.
well, you
But
need
it's
to.
not just that. It's
we talked
about
about
the
it with
translation
June.
from book to screen.
Yeah, and we talked about it with June last week. There's a difference between and even fantasy sagas where you invest
you look
the
at-
time
we
and
look
the
at the
effort to
conversation
reading
about
them.
It's very hard to get
Yeah.
from book to screen with Terry Pratchett stuff because
Yeah.
the nuances get lost. Probably the same for who did you say it was?
Isaac
Newton.
Asimov.
Yeah, him. It's probably the same for that. You probably like the books because of how they're written, what the
And also
premises and all
because
that
your
sort of stuff.
your mind does the imagination and
Mhm.
fills in the blanks, and visually this does look really good. But as I said, if you're a diehard Asimov fan, I don't think you like it because I don't at the moment. And if you're a newbie, then there's not much to keep you drawn in.
I was like that with the
Drawn
start of
Drawn. I can
yeah. Well, there's-
drawn in.
Drawn
in.
Drawn
Yeah,
in.
that was to
He
keep
doesn't
you-
know tenses. He's learning. He's learning. I was just like that with the start of Brave New World, which was based on the
That's crap.
Aldous Huxley.
No,
that
the
series.
book's good. The series was
But it was an interesting idea. They tried something,
no. Again, this is one of the. This is one of the
and I
things.
ended up liking it.
With,
I didn't
with,
for the beginning though.
no, with Brave New World, they took exactly the same context. They bastardized the content and tried to make it all sexy and new, and then went off on a complete tangent and it made
But
it.
the concept, they kept the core concept and the core themes. I know it was
Yeah,
slightly different,
But
you know,
exactly,
they're-
so
yeah,
the
they
diehard
really-
Huxley fans didn't like it, and everyone else that watched it didn't like it because it wasn't very good. Hence why it didn't get into season 2.
well, they told the whole story really.
They were trying for a season 2.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't have said no.
Yeah, and season 1 was still crap.
How
But some of that
terrible,
had to do a lot with the directing. But we weren't talking about Brave New World. But yeah.
No, I was trying to make a comparison.
Yeah, and absolutely. But this is the same. And the special effects on Brave New World were crap as well.
Anyway, what else you been watching?
So we did a review of this.
That's more.
Yeah,
There's always more.
There's lots more, but I'm trying to condense it.
That's okay.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am. I've cut out a load of stuff.
Paul, Lord of the Rings talking.
So a while ago we did a review of a trailer for The Green Knight.
The what?
The Green Knight.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
guys
we
remember that?
I was
Yeah.
at the Green.
So did I. I thought it was a green light.
So with Dev Patel as
Yeah, I
the,
remember.
the Arthurian legend and all that kind of good stuff. And I remember at the times, I think my comment was, this looks a lot like a guy that's doing a lot of walking
Yeah.
with not much action.
Oh, you love those films.
I think I was on the verge of the air of negative when I said that this looks like a lot of walking. Oh look, he's come across some giants and he's still walking. So
There was 3 of them films, but carry on.
Saturday night, while the girls were watching some
Ow.
singing film or whatever, or Bridget Jones in the other room, I thought Green Knight's just become available on Netflix or whatever it was, or Amazon, one of the 2 streaming services. Others are available in the area. I thought I'm gonna do this. So got myself a glass of wine or 2. on
Dear
standby.
listener, this is him condensing.
Terry Wogan. There we go. And I thought I'm going to do Green Knight. So I watched it, and
I thought you might have done. I thought this was a very long preamble just to get to the very short point of I watched it.
And was there a lot of walking? Oh yes, there was. Was it any good? Okay, so I think this is one of those films where you need to be in that right mindset. Do not go into this film thinking it's a big blockbuster, and from the trailer and from what we said about the trailer, it's absolutely not a big blockbuster. But I really enjoyed it, and I didn't expect to. And I think, surprisingly, one of the reasons I did like it was because it really tries to set the scene of the age. Put yourself into the fact that you're maybe going to watch a Macbeth reimagination, something like that. Take your
I'm trying. Okay.
take your helmet off from this is not a big blockbuster. I'm taking off my VR glasses.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
I'm in that zone.
So what you get is actually quite a good representation, and they try and do things really well about what life might have been like. You get lots of scenes of, and it seems padding, but it's, if you're in that mindset, it's not. So there's lots of things about, you know, random farmyard animals that are just, I think there's one scene about a goat a goose attacking a goat just because it's in the farmyard. So the directors just filmed it for like a minute, kept it in because it builds up of what life must have been like. Yeah, it's little things like that, setting the scene. So if somewhere's dark and there's not much light, you know how some Hollywood films, it's a bright room and you can see everything. This isn't like that. Actually, you know, if he's wandering around in the dark, it's dark and you can't see anything. If he's in a house with no candle lights, you can't see much.
Oh, that would annoy me.
No, but it's good. No, I really gave that brownie points because it made it more real. And a lot of blockbuster films, a lot of big budget films make everything bright.
Yeah, but they do that so you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's the conceit you accept. That they turn on their flashlight and nothing really happens because the directors and all the other lighting stage is already on.
No, but
you just accept it because that means you can, as a watcher, see what the fuck's going on.
No, but
I'm not having it.
No, but it made it more real.
I'm not gonna watch that.
To me,
if it's just
See, I mean,
darkness for 10
and
minutes
also,
at a time.
okay, traveling. There is a lot of him and his horse, but I didn't mind it, and I thought it would really irritate me, but I got over it because it added to the ambiance or the whatever. Because I was in that mindset, and there are some scenes where they're on battlefields and there's dead bodies and stuff, and he gets mugged. He finds potentially somebody who's been killed and has to go and help her. It's as I said, it's very Macbeth or Shakespearean or Arthurian, and the set pieces, and at the end of it kind of finishes in an unsatisfactory way. But when you think about,
But there's even more reason not to watch it.
no, but when you think about
There's a lot of walking, Most of it's in darkness,
No,
and it
you-
doesn't
you-
end
you've-
very
you've
well.
not
That's
sold it
it.
to me.
Move on. What else have you
I
been
know
watching?
Ralph Ineson is the Green Knight and it Finchy from The Office. I know it's him, but
Yeah,
He's in loads of those films.
But all I would say to you
he's
is,
done very well.
if you put yourself in that mindset, it's all right.
I did, and I woke myself up.
The only other thing that I want to mention, I haven't been watching this. I've been listening to this. So I downloaded the first Sandman on Audible, and started giving that a listen, and
Good, isn't it?
it's really good. So
Two's just come out.
yeah, you know
Which I pre-ordered.
and that's why
No,
I'm
you've
mentioning
ordered it.
and that's why I'm
You've
mentioning
ordered
this.
It will arrive at some
Let's
point.
not
You've
go
just
into
ordered
this
it.
again,
It's arrived.
please.
Well, there you go then.
So, to be fair to Audible and this edition of Sandman, it's really good content. It's really good production values. Sometimes you get an Audible, what do you call them?
Book, yeah.
Even though they're not book.
Audio.
But,
It's an audio book.
yeah, but the sound quality is crap. But this is an acted.
And they kept to the pretty much to everything in the graphic novel as well.
But this
Which is rare.
But this is an acted production.
I was
There's
just going to ask you that. Is it just
yeah.
narrated, or is
No,
it?
no,
It's,
no.
it's a
It's got Taron Egerton
Dramatisation.
in it, who's in every bloody Audible book out at the moment. No, but it's a really good cast. It's a really good production. Even the background music's really good as well. It sounds like they're setting the scene. If only it was a film, you know. It's really good from so far. I'm only an hour in.
And they have greenlit a season 3 audio book as well.
Cool. But as I said, you know, compared to a lot of the stuff on Audible that I've listened to, the likes of Lord of the Rings, Foundation,
Why would you listen to Lord of the Rings on Audible?
to help me go to sleep.
Just watch
I
the
read
film.
the book when I was 12.
Where
You've no doubt read it earlier than that. No, obviously seen the films. So
To help me go to
why, on
sleep.
God's clean
and I've got 3
earth?
tokens that I need to buy books
but-
with.
Get something new. Get something you haven't heard or read before.
But I fall asleep after 10 minutes, so I need, Anyway, Sandman, Audible, good so far. Hour in. I
Cool,
managed
right.
to stay awake for an hour listening to this.
There you go. Well, that would happen if you got something else new that wasn't something you'd already seen, watched, or heard before.
Well, I pre-ordered Sandman too.
And,
No, you haven't.
Yeah,
and it's
No,
got.
you haven't. You've ordered it. You haven't pre-ordered
It's
it.
out
Pre-ordered
now.
it.
It's
You've
out
ordered
now.
it.
So you've got it.
I've ordered it then.
Yeah.
Either way,
You
even if
have
it
now.
wasn't out, you would have still.
I just haven't downloaded
ordered
it. And the only other thing to mention,
Oh, there's more.
which I'm not going to mention because I'm going to do a review of it because it's that good, is another
Another 48 hours.
another delight from the East, which is Sisyphus, the Myth on Netflix. It's a new series.
Sounds intriguing.
It really is good. Really is good. If you guys have Netflix,
Can we just get like a one sentence? What's it about?
Oh no, please! It's time for the news.
All right. So basically, you think that maybe aliens coming on board, or maybe taking over the Earth. But the whole of episode 1 is about the build up to that, where you're just getting introduced to the characters in a really
So
good
like
way.
an alien invasion-y type thing.
Potentially.
Potential
Yeah.
alien invasion. Cool. I'm intrigued.
Cool. Do it. Watch it as well. Then we can talk about it. Sisyphus.
News desk.
The news.
News items.
And as that jingle would pronounce, it is time for the news. So we've got a lot to go through tonight. The first of which is that something that we've alluded to in the past, and this is the fact that Disney, on behalf of Marvel, are to sue the families of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, among others, in order to prevent them from claiming copyrights for a slew of Marvel characters, including Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Hawkeye, my personal favourite, Thor, and the Black Widow.
Yeah, this is the big work for hire debate that we've been speaking about before, on whether or not, you're working for a company, they own the character. Is that correct? Should the person that created it have a share in that character, even though their contract they signed said that whatever they create would belong to the company? So the families of the creators are claiming the copyright law allows them to reclaim the rights once a set amount of time has passed, but Disney is arguing the part that copyright law doesn't apply here, as the creators came up with the characters under the work for hire contract, as we mentioned. And Jack Kirby himself, the great King Kirby, got a few quid back from Marvel, but not nearly enough for what he'd done. And now it looks like Disney are trying to put an end to it once and for all by making some big legal precedent that no one can claim ownership on anything, basically.
Well,
now.
it's a weird thing because, you know, I've got a lot of time, as we all do, for the creators of these characters. But similarly, if I'm at work and if I come up with some material that my company uses, it's not mine. And I need to leave that with the company should I leave.
Intellectual property.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Damien.
It's quite right. Something I can contribute to a conversation about comics.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I feel for the families because they're thinking, well, they came up with these characters. It's making, you know, Disney and Marvel billions of pounds over.
I think it'd be nice if Disney or Marvel.
There should be a
whoever
token gesture.
Yeah, there could be. They could give them a nice wedge so they didn't have to worry about anything again and still be, you know, in control of the characters. So maybe.
Yeah, but at which point do you do that? So at which point did Disney say, "Oh, that's done us really well. We're going to bung you a couple of quid"?
Yeah.
They got no obligation to.
Without knowing too much about their contracts or their law, unfortunately, you know, from my side of the fence, if I'm employing a creative person to design some designs for me, and if I like them, then it's my content because I've paid that person to do their job.
It's the corporate world. It's
and
how,
it's,
like,
you know, it sucks. Don't get me wrong.
And again, and back in those days, I mean, when does Spider-Man come out?
Not in those days,
You're
but even
talking
today.
50 no, but
but
like,
as Damien said, with intellectual property, if whatever I create for my company isn't my property.
I mean, it's the mistake they made was signing it begin with. You know, 50 odd
exactly.
years ago, they didn't know that multi-million pound, billion-pound films were going to be coming
Exactly,
out.
because they weren't.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think we led on it with the Nirvana kid the other week, didn't we? Saying about, you know, he wanted money for the album cover and all that. It's like, you know, you were paid for a picture, it was taken and sold to someone else. Tough luck.
Although I just bought the NFT of that the other day, and I'm really happy with that purchase.
Anyway, I think that's a debate that will go on.
It's a debate that will go on forever. It's legal right versus fairness.
I think it's one of
I don't think fairness
no, I
comes
think
into it.
I think it's one of those things that unfortunately the contracts of the time are done and dusted. It's what happens in the future for creative people that are developing stuff for.
Well, that's where a lot more
organisations.
of the indie comic thing came in, like Image Comics, like Robert Kirkman with The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
you know, they published it, they took a cut of it, but he still maintains ownership of the property, and thus makes a killing off it now by making new series about people that walk down the road.
Absolutely, but where do you draw the line? You know, going back to the creators of Batman and Superman.
Well, I mean, they were all screwed as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, but that's where a lot of the indie comic market has come into it now, where they can offer these creators, you know, particular rights and ownership of their characters. So suddenly they get this huge new comic line in from someone who's a known artist, writer, whatever, and they can create their own stuff and keep the rights to it and pocket the money. And that's what sort of set the indie market apart from your Marvels and your DCs.
Okay, let's come back to that when we know more.
It'll go on forever.
Yes,
okay, so it's going to be a long drawn out affair, isn't it? Okay, so moving on. Russell T Davies is back at the helm of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Damien.
So, Russell T, he was the fantasy dramas showrunner back in... When did they come out? 2004? Did they come
So
back?
which one was he at the helm
he
of?
brought it back.
So this is when I started liking it with your fella.
Eccleston.
Eccleston was the first, and then it was...
He was really good.
What's his name?
Eccleston I really liked.
I was going to say Tim Lovejoy then.
No, it's not Tim Lovejoy. No,
that's the priest in The Simpsons.
No,
Tim Lovejoy's off Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's a Sunday thing. That was the same. Yeah.
Anyway,
can you imagine Tim Lovejoy's face if he got the part on Doctor Who? or rather, Simon.
He'd be unbearable.
Simon's
as bad enough as it
face.
is.
Yeah, the amount of crap he'd have to deal with.
And then it was David Tennant.
That's the fella. Yeah, it's not even similar.
No. Hey, you know.
Right, so he's back.
He's back. So yeah, he was a showrunner from whenever it came out. or rebooted, and then finished in 2009. He's going to take over when Chris Chibnall departs next year, and obviously his first task will be to find a new Doctor.
So he left in 2009.
Yeah.
And that when it got shit again?
No,
I don't know.
It was Russell T Davies and the other geezer.
Okay, so
And then the other geezer carried on, and that was the.
So this Chris Chibnall guy has only written the last,
He's
or
been,
been
yeah, he's
showrunner
been there
since.
as long as Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah,
right, because that got crap.
it's all too preachy, and
As soon as she came on board. as
No,
Doctor
I
Who-
don't know what. I think there's nothing wrong with her as a doctor.
Not
It's the script.
It's the script.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's the plots,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's all about
No,
the
but-
Earth is
and
going
that,
to
and
die.
that was the same with the Scottish dude before her, who's I can't remember the name.
Are we talking about Chris Tennant?
Capaldi.
No, yeah, Peter Capaldi.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't watch
his
any of
plots
those.
weren't.
Yeah, they were
the
bad.
greatest.
But what I'm saying is when Jodie Whittaker came on board, I just it didn't align with the storyline. And
The only thing that carried those episodes was
Stephen Moffat.
the chase
that was
fella.
it.
yeah,
Bradley Walsh.
and I felt really bad for her because she was the first female Doctor, and she was giving a lot of crap that she had to act. Even her, her lines, her content was crap. I felt really bad for her because if there's a great storyline and great content, she'd have been fantastic at it. And you almost watch it feeling sorry for her that she was having to deliver these lines. But Russell T Davies is back, and I actually liked the first stuff that he had with Eccleston.
And Tennant. So he would do long story arcs.
Yeah.
But not every episode was about that story arc.
Yeah.
But it
But there
would
might be
they'd be
a
interweaved in the
sprinkling
thing.
in it, yeah.
And that kind of slowly disappeared as he left it, like I say.
Well,
in
with
2009.
Stephen Moffat took over from that, and he kind of picked up the baton and raced on with it, and then that he got us through to Matt
Smith.
Smith. Oh, don't know what's happening.
So I think
forgetting
Matt
that.
Smith was wasted as well.
See, I like the Matt Smith stuff. That
No,
was,
yeah, but
That's
that
the
was,
last
he,
one that I
he
really
was
watched
one that
until-
got me back into it. So I kind of watched it, then he got me back into it, and then I went back and watched it again. Like the ones before that with
Tennant.
David Tennant and that I was in and out of, and there were bits where I watched it, bits where I didn't, and he kind of got me back into it, especially with the 50th stuff when that all came round.
Yeah,
with the
I
War
just think
Doctor and all
I
that.
just think they
Yeah.
didn't develop him as much as they could because he's a really good actor. And again, it's another thing. It's same as mentioned with Jodie Whittaker, is the scripts didn't really excel. I don't know. I just felt a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, and that was what happened with again.
Don't mention his name. Don't do it.
Sylvester McCoy. That was a good run.
You're such a.
Yeah, but they were well written. The
Yeah.
budget might not be, but they were well written.
I think you see elements of Sylvester McCoy through all the new Doctors.
I must admit, I saw today where you can pay. I'm going to say celebrities to do, the video chats, and Sylvester McCoy's popped up, and I thought,
You should do it.
my birthday gift to you, Damien, would
Definitely, I'd love
be
that.
Sylvester McCoy. Happy birthday. There we go.
Be awesome.
There's a crane fly attacking you at the moment.
Yeah, that's because you left the door open when you went for a
No, that was already in here. Okay, so any more on this, or should we move on?
Well,
I mean, we could spend the whole episode.
I
on
was saying, but
Doctor Who.
the big question will be.
Well, I'd want to, but
I was saying the big question will be off of this is who's got the next sonic screwdriver. That'll be Russell T Davis's cross to die on, because he's either going to be hated for it or
Yeah.
it'll be we got it right again.
Here we go. So, Steve Coogan has been announced to play Jimmy Savile in a new drama about the disgraced TV personality.
Yeah, it's called The Reckoning. It's going to be a mini-series, and it will tell the story of the presenter's rise and the sexual abuse scandals that emerged after his death. Coogan as Savile, I think, could be a very interesting choice because it can be quite
So he's a good
take it in his character acting. Yeah, he can get.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, so he was in that Stephen Lawrence thing
so
recently. I haven't watched it,
and
but
even the
Stephen, I watched that. He was alright in it.
The Stan and Ollie film was amazing. He was amazing in that with the Oliver the Lauren Hardy one.
So
and,
he's.
I don't think he's going to be the problem. The biggest problem I think he's going to probably be amazing in it. The biggest problem that this is getting is that people are now complaining that the BBC are paying for a drama about someone they paid to hide for years, and all that sort of all those issues relating to it.
I think that's my point, because even now online I've seen Steve Coogan getting criticism for playing it. Why would you play a bad guy? It's like, well, hold on.
Yeah. Have you watched Alan Partridge?
No, but
he's not a nice man.
Have you seen Hannibal? Or any bad film with a bad person?
Don't forget that we live in a country where EastEnders and Coronation Street actresses get attacked in the street for or actors get attacked in the street for whatever their character did.
Yeah.
If you're an actor, you want to play a bad guy.
People are going to think he is Jimmy Savile at some point, and probably
they're not.
He's going to get a brick put through his window or something. No, but there'll be those people.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the rationale. It's like, why do you want to play Jimmy Savile? Well, to be honest, if I was an actor, I would want to play a really bad person, and do it well.
I mean, he said
he's already getting stick for it.
Yeah. I mean, he said he hasn't taken the decision lightly. It's somebody he clearly wants to get his teeth into.
So,
yeah, I think no matter how much you believe of the conspiracy theories, the cover-ups, all of that stuff, no matter how much of that has truth in it and what doesn't, it sounds like a bad idea for the BBC to be doing it.
Yeah.
Any other production company, well, to be fair, it probably is farmed out to another production company, but it's going to be under the BBC banner. If ITV had announced they're doing this show, I think
they'd love it.
Yeah, but it would be a different,
and it would absolutely be different.
Yeah,
but because that's my point.
I don't think no matter how well they do it and how sensitive it is, or how much of the truth is revealed, there'll always be a backlash that the BBC have still covered up something. The BBC have still hiding this. They're still hiding that. They're still complicit in this. They're still etc. etc.
Exactly.
On a slightly on a related note, I wonder how many BBC personalities are checking the cast list to see who's playing them, and they're worried they might be turning up in this.
No, I just can't see how the BBC can do this as an independent production. When, let's be honest, they allegedly have made a lot of
but like
mistakes.
Damon said, it might be an actual independent company.
Well, it will be.
Coogan's got his own production company.
Yeah, but why would the BBC release it?
Well, they're desperate for ratings these days.
But if rumours are to believe, and if what we believe has happened, there's been many failings at the BBC over the last 50 years or whatever with Jimmy Savile. If this is an honest and accurate depiction of Jimmy Savile, this wouldn't be good for the BBC to release it. So
no, I agree. That's going to be it's going to be the integrity line in this. Is it going to be an amazing performance?
But my concern is this isn't going to be the truth. This is going to be a version of the truth that.
Well, that's exactly what I just said.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It doesn't matter what this is. There'll always be that argument. I think we spent too long on this. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Steve Coogan.
That was now. What's then?
Next on the card, Illumination and Nintendo have announced that their new animated film based on the world of Super Mario Brothers will be released worldwide during the 2022 holiday season. Blimey, 2022. No, I was just thinking 2022 already, and I was thinking about Isaac Asimov, and all that kind of good stuff. Anywho, Super Mario
it is
Brothers.
what it is. Do we need to dwell on it?
Well, the cast.
We need to dwell on the backlash.
Ooh.
Whoa.
There's been a backlash, has there?
Yeah, because Mario is going to be voiced by Chris Pratt, and Luigi is going to be voiced by Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, amongst other things. They're not Italian.
Yeah, but they are actors. They can.
Oh no, you can't do a voice that's not you anymore.
Hold on. Mario was American.
He was Italian.
No, he's American.
Italian-American.
Well,
No such thing. But
he's American.
To us. It's
no,
no. But
real terms, there's no such thing. You're
Yeah,
either
but-
American or you're Italian.
but
You
tell-
might have Italian heritage,
Tell them that.
but you're American.
That's like saying.
To be fair, that's probably the one bit of America I don't want to offend.
But that's like
Yeah,
saying.
you're gonna come and
I'm knee deep in Sopranos at the moment. I'm not going near. No, but there's a whole thing of like, it's a heritage thing. He's known for that. How dare they put these people?
Because
in?
he's an actor. What's the point in having actors? Because
I'm not
you
saying
you
you're
can't
wrong.
play
I'm
this
just,
character.
I'm arguing the case here.
No,
This is what
absolutely.
people are
But
saying.
you can't play this character unless you are that character. That's where it's getting to. You can't play a bold 40-year-old white guy unless you're a bold 40-year-old
Yeah, I'm too
white
young.
guy. There you go. No, but it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, but
Well, it's in the long run, it's gonna rub out the character actor, isn't it? Because that was the
It's
skill
gonna
of
rub
the
out-
character actor. No, but the skill of the character actor was they could take a role, become that person, and just be, oh my
it's-
god, he's like that in
Yeah.
that film, that in that film.
No,
but
it's-
they won't be
it's-
allowed to do that anymore.
it's gonna rub out any actor.
But it's all I agree with you. But this is what's happening now, and it's
Oh my-
it's the
oh my
trickle
gosh.
down effect. It's happening
We're
at one
going
point.
really
I just
deep, aren't
popped
we?
a little thing in about a new Mario film, and before you know it,
We're knee deep in
we're knee
racism.
deep in racism, and
All right, let's
well,
move
at least
on.
we haven't got to gender equality yet. So maybe we can find something in that later on in the
Okay,
news.
so next news item. I was going to say hysterical. Historical sci-fi drama series Outlander is moving from Amazon to Stars Play for the next season.
Yep, so the show's always been on Amazon Prime over here. I think it's Hulu or something similar
Hulu.
over in the States. I want to say Hulu. It might not be Hulu, it might be something else. Doesn't matter. But either way, it was on a channel that we don't have over here. So it's always been on Amazon. Now it's going, now that channel is over here, I think. Yeah, Hulu is part of Stars Play, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Rings a bell.
I'm starting to doubt myself now.
No, I don't think so. Because
Yeah.
even
Hulu
on some
Stars, it's
stuff
all
I
kind of
said,
the same thing.
it's
Yeah,
like
either
Hulu
way,
that
so-
pops up.
On Amazon, it's always been available, but now it won't be.
Hold
It's no
on,
great
so-
loss for us, but
So this isn't anything new content that's coming out. This is the existing stuff.
so at
So
some
this
point,
harks back to the stuff that we were talking about,
yeah, very much similar
previously,
to what we said.
where there's like
so
channels that say,
The
"No, I'm taking my
content-
content back."
the
yeah, so there's a
content
rush
wars
at the
have
moment
begun.
now. So season 5, I think it is, season 6 is out on Amazon now.
Right.
It's been out. It's been on. It came out last year, but if you haven't watched it, you're gonna want to watch it quick while it's still free, because that and everything. The back catalogue will move across to Stars Play. So not the Disney one, the Amazon one, and then that's an add-on premium
So,
£5
so
channel.
basically, the world, as we talked about before, the world of watching content is completely changing.
No.
The,
The content wars. I said it before.
yeah, the whole idea about
Copyright.
the license fee is kind of, back on the table. It's like, why are we paying a license fee to stuff that we might not watch when everything else is subscription based? And it's more up to the watcher to choose what content they want. But there's so
Can
many.
we stop using the word watcher? It sounds a little bit creepy. Viewer is all right. That's
The problem
tried and
is,
tested
it
term
looks
for
like there's
TV.
going to be a point in the non too distant future where there's going to be at least 12 different.
There already is.
Yeah, but in a more on full content wise, 12 different things that are going to be charging
Well, the big
5
the,
to 10
the big
pounds
step,
a month to watch them.
the big step will be when it scales back even more, and it's just like Warner Brothers, Fox, Amazon, Netflix, and everything just comes at the same time. Whereas at the moment we kind of get, in the UK it's on that one, in America it's on that one. Wherever you watch it, at some point it's just going to be like, Warner Brothers are going to like, while we send it to Amazon, let's just make them subscribe to our site. And when
Yeah,
when
but
they
that's
get
clearly
down,
what's
that's
happening with
what I'm
this
saying. Yes,
Outlander, because the next season will premiere on Stars, probably at the same time as
No,
it
I
does
mean
on
just
the
all.
linear
Yes, I'm
stars
saying. That's
over
what I
in
mean.
the States. Who
That's
knows
what I'm saying.
what it
And
is.
at one point there will be just a stars, and it's not going to be stars in America, stars here. It's just going to be like.
Well, that's what, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's all going to be through one window.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
we
this started
talked
from a
about it
conversation
before.
Outlander, which none of us watch, but
Well, we talked about the concept before. We'll talk about it again, no doubt, over the next
And it's
few
about
years.
Lady goes back in time, gets banged a lot. Apparently,
Let's
pretty
see.
much, yeah.
Okay, so the one that I saw this week, which I was interested in, the Boys spin-off series has been given a go at Amazon and has been with some new showrunners.
yeah, they've got Michelle Fazekas and Tara Butters, and they're going to take over from Craig Rosenberg. Creative differences has seen him leave the show. It's untitled at the moment, and it's going to be sort of college young people superhero thing run by Vought International. Sounds a bit X-Men-y, but I think it's going to be more obviously
Teenage angst.
R-rated and offensive and boys-like. I don't think they're going to be but is it too much of a good thing? That would be my thing.
So,
And also, this is their well, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think this is their sort of attempt at what we were talking about earlier. This is them maybe creating a few of their own people that they can do something with that might not necessarily be in the comics. And
My issue is that in the main series, there's never been any reference to this college.
yeah, exactly.
And yet, so what's her name? Stargirl
Yep.
was plucked from
She was in
small
a
town.
minor superhero group, wasn't she?
Yeah. Now all of a sudden,
Damien,
there's a
welcome
college.
to the
Yeah.
world.
So this is why I don't like this shite, because they think, right, how can we make some money? What can we do? I know, let's reimagine that there's a college where all of these people go to, and that's where we pluck them.
Well, it won't
from.
be all of them. It'll be like a select sort of.
Yeah, either way,
But
arse gravy.
Okay, so coming back to the days when I would be watching Babylon 5, it's been finally announced there's going to be a Babylon 5 reboot. What the?
from the ground up.
What is this about?
Well, J. Michael
Star Trek,
Straczynski.
isn't it?
No,
Whoa, then what? Yeah, you just saying that to
No.
wind me up?
it's much better.
Are you?
Oh, okay.
Are you just?
Oh, serious? I thought it was some Star Trek nonsense.
All right.
It's got
No.
spaceships and
No. All right.
No.
No, just stop talking. If that's what you're going to say, if that's your input, no.
okay, I'll shut up.
Brett, give me the lowdown.
Babylon 5 is probably
Completely different.
Babylon
It's got
5
aliens
is,
and they all live on
Completely-
a spaceship and
Completely different.
seek out stuff and.
In a completely different way.
Oh right,
no,
okay.
that. Now, Babylon 5 is probably the greatest written science fiction TV series of all time. J. Michael Straczynski, he invented what became the sort of the story arc. No shows were doing that at the time. It was interchangeable episodes that, when they were repeated, it didn't really matter. You didn't have to follow what was going on, whereas he invented the long story arcs and kind of the stuff we see now in TV and take for granted, from even things like Sopranos, Lost, your Buffy's, your Angel, all those shows that had those long threads that were maybe even Foundation, as it may, those long threads that play out over time, and those sort of 5 series that he'd done.
It is
whilst
more long.
It
was a long game.
It was a long game, and there was a lot in it, and you did have to pay attention. And I think it lost a little bit of respect from people because some of it did look like it was done on the cheap. But the actual story was is something worth finding. I would actually challenge you to go and watch that, Damien.
Did it have Vicini from Princess Bride in?
No, you're thinking. You're thinking DS9 or something.
I don't know. It's all the same to me.
No.
TV series is
it
about
was.
spaceships.
I don't know.
It had the Scarecrow from Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
I know who
Bruce
that is,
Boxleitner.
but
Who else was in it? Kaneki from Grease turns out in the later series.
I love the fact that he's not resorted to Dr. Google. You see him.
Need to for that.
He's just going.
Just,
It's going on his grey matter there.
I'm trying to think who else that you would remember. Peter Jurassic,
It's irrelevant to me who's in it.
You started this bit.
No, I just thought
did it have him in
I was
it?
trying to think if I've seen it, and I thought
Yeah.
I remember seeing
it's a
some
very
space
long-
nonsense.
The thing with Babylon 5 is they were trying to.
It's War and Peace in Space, basically.
You're not selling it to me.
they were trying to draw on different cultures and different
Yeah.
mythologies.
and there's
in
some
They
a
have
really
a
good
hollow
way.
suite.
And it is the greatest use of timey-wimey stuff, I think, in any television programme.
Okay.
Which is what got me on it. Because I was kind of watching it, it was good. And then once, it took about 4 series, but when all the bits played out and fell into place, you were like...
If you've got to wait for the big reveal at season 4,
Well,
I'd have been long
different
gone by
bits on different things. Because there's all different things going on.
okay,
Yeah.
well there we go then. Babylon 5's getting a reboot. Happy days.
It's going to be good.
And that is the end of the
No,
news.
it's not.
Apart from
No, we've got 2 late editions.
2 late editions.
First one.
You're in sound effects. What's this?
I have no idea. I don't know what that was. And why did
I
it
thought you
come
were trying to
out-
be clever. It's like, please don't do this to me. I've got to edit this
I
shit.
just said that. Did you
What are you doing to me?
did you square that with
I
Damien
didn't
having
know.
your own
I
sound
didn't
effects?
know. I didn't push anything. And I
Yeah,
don't know why
right.
it
That's what she
started.
said.
That was just scary. Hot off the press, one of the news items that just came in is that Mackenzie Crook is set to return as Wurzel Gummidge for 3 new episodes.
Oh yeah, Toby Jones is going to be.
And Toby Jones is in
I
it
didn't
as
bother
well.
putting that on. I thought,
The Detectorists reunite.
I know.
Even though I've still not
See,
seen it.
have you not? You've not seen
I've got them
Directorists?
all. Every episode is recorded on my box from the first time they were on.
Are we
And
talking
I've
about
never
Wurzel
sat down-
Gummidge?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wurzel Gummidge is amazing. I really like.
Yeah, the new seasons, or the new seasons that have come
Really?
out. Yeah, they're really good.
I thought it was crap.
Yeah, well, you got no soul. You like space.
I just take Wurzel
Star Trek.
Gummidge.
Yeah, but these are
An
actually
extended
like based on
universe
the
of
books,
Babylon
not
5.
Just, not just John Pertwee doing stuff in
No,
cake.
but I hated Wurzel Gummidge, and this was, maybe that's why. And
Well, for
I
once,
hated
like
it.
in this one, I know a lot of people didn't like it, but Aunt Sally was actually like the aunt character on the thing rather than his girlfriend, which was a bit weird.
Yeah, she's
And
the
then John
proper sort of
Pertwee, yeah.
foul-mouthed.
Yeah, and he's got the
shit
little.
thing.
I've forgotten her name
What do you
now.
call them?
The little one.
They've got a specific
Bulkhead?
name.
Bulkhead? I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah,
Aunt Sally.
but
She's called Aunt Sally, yeah, but there's
yeah,
a
but
name for those
she's
things
that
that
thing
sit
that
on the
goes
front.
on the
doesn't
front
it?
of the boat
Yeah.
on a ship.
Oh, okay. The those things.
Maidenhead. No.
No,
No, that's a place.
Yeah. No, but that's,
it doesn't matter.
well, it is a
Move on.
place.
Move on.
Anyway, so that's
yeah,
good.
so that's
Yeah.
coming back. There's going to be 3 episodes.
Rubbish.
Most people that like it with Souls think it's great. Toby Jones is going to be on board as well.
Rubbish.
Do we need to
Okay.
hide
He's
the
going to be
gin?
in it. Paul Kay,
Uh,
Bill Bailey,
Who cares? Move on. No one wants
And
to talk
India
about Wurzel
Brown.
Gummidge. Move on. What's the next news item?
Yeah, we spent half an hour on Foundation.
Yeah, Wurzel Gummidge. No.
I'd rather watch Rose
It's
of Gummidge
rubbish.
Foundation. Yeah, brilliant.
Rubbish.
And the big Star Wars news.
Ooh.
Oh, now he's sitting up.
Okay, now
I
I'm
just
in.
felt the table lift. Calm
Is,
down.
is it new though?
Right. There will be a
Dun, dun,
George
dun.
Lucas Stormtrooper action figure where you can take the helmet off, look, and it's George. You can't see this, do you? Look?
I don't know
We've
why
got it on laptop.
you're looking at me as if I need to be impressed.
No, I was waiting for the
gonna
comments.
say.
Yeah.
It's an action figure of some grey-haired dude.
It's George Lucas. It's officially being released as George Lucas in Stormtrooper disguise. And to quote, "You'll see the fourth wall breaking 6-inch figure based on the same style of the original trilogy with armor, removable helmet, and a blaster."
Wonderful. In a career that began in the late 1960s, when he sold his first TV script, he became one of the hottest young writers on the Universal lot. Cannell co-created over 40 TV shows, including Bar Bar Black Sheep, Beretta, The Greatest American Hero, 21 Jump Street, and of course, The A-Team. Cannell formed his own independent production company in 1979, wrote more than 450 TV episodes, and produced or executive produced more than 1,500 episodes.
It's Quite a few of them.
That's
Quite
a
a
lot of
few.
work, isn't
It's
it?
a lot of work, isn't it?
He wasn't lazy.
I don't think you can accuse him of being lazy.
He really liked that
Might-
typewriter.
He wore that bitch out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how we want to do this. I guess, Brett, you've got a long list of TV shows that he was in. Oh, sorry,
Well,
that he produced and
Producing
created.
it. Well, it all goes back to 1970, where he wrote 2 episodes of Ironside.
Hang on, be careful.
It was under 30 seconds.
Yeah,
We're okay. And then after that, he I mean, we're going to concentrate more on the shows that would pop up on the Cult Faction radar. There's a lot of stuff, and a lot of them involve various soldiers or military or police people kind of re-evaluating themselves and then setting out for their own form of justice. So we'll see what we got. But back at the beginning, we had a couple of scripts at Ironside. Then we had a lot of stories for the police buddy show at the time, Adam 12, which started Martin Milner and Kent McCord. McCord would go on to great fame in Galactica 1980, if you remember that one. After that, we had an episode of Columbo called Double Exposure, which was a good episode of Columbo, but is notable to be mentioned as it co-starred Robert Culp, who would pop up later on in the Stephen J. Cannell story when we get to The Greatest American Hero. So that's where they met, that's where they began. We then had Chase, which was again, you can see the themes coming, but there's an unconventional police unit led by Captain Chase Reddick, who was played by Mitchell Ryan, and basically one of them is a really good detective, one of them trains police dogs, one's the motorcycle guy, one's the helicopter guy, and one's the expert driver, and they all team together to solve crimes.
Sounds a bit like the Village People.
Yeah. They didn't look like them, luckily. But again, you can see a theme in his writing. You can see what's developing. You can see where this might be ending up. So after that, there was also a show called, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, Toma, Toma, which was based on the real life New Jersey detective David Toma, who was a master of disguise and undercover work, and apparently even appears in many of the episodes, but you don't know where because he's a master of disguise. So again, you can see what's driving him as a writer, what's appealing to him, where he's going with these kind of things. So that's taken us into the sort of early 70s. So even by now, he's hitting 100 episodes of things that he's written for shows, and we haven't even got anywhere yet. Then we had a few other series: Switch, City of Angels, Scott Free.
You missed out the Rockford Files.
Did I miss them? I thought they came out later on.
1974 to 1980.
Okay, I've got that. Oh yeah, but he didn't get onto them till 1979 now, didn't he? Or was it 74? I don't know. On my list, but yeah, we'll get to the Rockford Files
Okay,
with
cool.
James Garner, which is legendary stuff. Well, let's talk about it now. But yeah, he did 150 episodes of that.
Wow.
So that's just on one series. And that would be something he would revisit right up to his death. There were many more Rockford Files TV movies and specials right the way through, even into the early 2000s. And so that was something he would go back to, which is probably the most that he did on anything ever for one show and one character. But there was also the Dr. Scorpion TV movie in 1978, and Dr. Scorpion starred Nick Mancuso and Richard Hurd. Again, let's see if we can spot a theme here. There's a former secret agent turned marine biologist who investigates the murder of a friend and gets caught up in complex and dangerous intelligence work. And yeah, so a bit spy-y, almost James Bondy, I suppose, in some ways. But again, it's someone from something who turns his life into something else using the skills he has. So yeah, he was very much, I guess, a supporter of the vigilante was Stephen. He liked that in his work. Then Beretta came along as well, another big series that he created, and that went for 82 episodes that he was involved in. Beretta was the maverick undercover New York detective played by Robert Blake. Then there was The Knight Rider, a TV movie again, not to be confused with a show later on. In this one, a refined New Orleans gentleman becomes a masked crime fighter by night, both to uphold the law and order and to find the men who murdered his family.
But
and
but
get
with
revenge.
no cool car.
No, there was no car. Basically, the Knight Rider looks a lot like Zorro. But I'm guessing changed enough. David Selby starred in that one, and it also featured a young Kim Cattrall. So
What didn't back then?
that is true. Hit TV shows by the all accounts. We also, so again, I wrote some episodes for Hunter in 1984. Then there was the really bizarre TV oddity known as The Last Precinct that only ran for 8 episodes. It was a police precinct that was sort of the one at the sort of end of the police precinct thing that everyone forgot about. It was kind of like the X-Files police department, but it was a bit more zany. And you had Adam West as the sort of sergeant. You had Ernie Hudson, aka Winston Zedmore from Ghostbusters. He was a sergeant. Wingshauser was a lieutenant. And various other people popped in, but they were James Cromwell even turns out, and they're arresting like vampires turn up and werewolves turn up, and it was just all a bit. It's just weird. It's hard to find, so if you can find some online, do share them around, because let's say the
Copyright all being well and good.
Just send the YouTube link. I think you're right to do that.
Yeah,
Don't-
if you
don't
send the
download,
link, it's
copy,
not
and
your
then
content.
sell.
Yeah,
That's not what we're saying.
but there weren't many episodes, but it is worth a watch just for the randomness of it. Then, of course, following that, we have the greatest American hero. The theme tune, the costume, the loss of the instructions. It had it all. And I think this is where most people in the UK would have jumped onto the Stephen J. Cannell train.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's probably the first of the time, because that was the early 80s before the A-Team and Hunter for me. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, but Saturday night for me was pretty much Stephen J. Cannell. At the end of it would be the typewriter, but it would be Stephen J. Cannell.
Because this would have been about the time the typewriter came into being, I think. Is that right, Damien?
So he formed his production company, I think we said 79, something like that.
Yeah.
And initially it was just literally just an to kind of stamp across the screen said J. Cannell Productions. But yeah, from about 81 onwards is when we would start seeing the iconic typewriter.
And
I think it was
and
an
pulling the
IBM
paper
something
out.
or another. Apparently it's the same typewriter throughout the entire, because there've been like 8 or 9 different variations of the ident, but it's always the same typewriter. It's just different backgrounds. More awards would get added, and even
I think a kid runs in at one point.
no,
later
no,
on.
no, no,
Is
no,
there
no,
no kid?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. That could be the Mandela effect, but certainly no kid.
Yeah.
I've sat through and watched every single variation of the ident in the last couple of
No,
days.
fair enough.
And there's no kid running through. There's parodies, so it pops up.
Maybe I saw something.
Yeah, so the
been a
Simpsons
while.
have used it. Peter Griffin uses it when he shouts, "I've just come up with my script," and then it cuts to the theme tune with him running around, the camera panning around him, and he throws a bit of paper. But yeah, even to the fact that he was adamant about the fact that he wanted to show that he'd quit smoking. So in the early idents, he's there with his pipe, typing away, and throws a bit of paper. By sort of mid to late 80s, he'd quit smoking, so the pipe was...
Vaping then, was he?
Yeah, you probably would if it was now. But yeah, the pipe's gone, and obviously, as I said, more awards keep appearing in the background. And it's also funny if you watch it. I think in the first couple, it's almost like a shed of a studio of an office. There's a window in the background with a little roller blind, and that's about it. By 89, 89, something like that, it's a plush wooden oak panelled office.
He's made his money.
Yeah,
I can remember
there's
a bookshelf.
awards.
Was there a bookshelf or maybe there
Bookshelves?
was? Or,
It's the works.
Mahogany.
So you can see the evolution of how well he was doing. So yeah, you're right. From about Greatest American Hero onwards, that's when the ident kicks in, and we all know how that feeling kicks in when you've just watched a TV show, and it finishes with that.
No, definitely. And Greatest American Hero. Any thoughts on the show from anyone? I loved it. You were saying it like the memories of coming back in, etc.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think American Greatest Hero for me, it was brilliant because it was a superhero that wasn't that great. So it was even more relatable than Spider-Man, who wasn't a great superhero. Let's face it, he just had superpowers enthrust upon him. And you kind of think about, I could get a magic suit and become a superhero. I wouldn't lose the book. I wouldn't lose the instructions. So as a kid, that was in my head.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to do that without Robert Culp. You need a Robert Culp.
You need your FBI liaison or whatever. I can't remember his official title now, but it was something like that. Yeah, straight from his Columbo episode from Stephen J. Cannell, and he pops up in here. So, and you do find a lot of that with Cannell's work. He brings back people he's worked with before, and not almost Tarantino-like. People pop up, and you think, oh, it's Stephen J. Cannell, he's going to appear, and he does.
But let's face it. I mean, the big thing for me when I was, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing Greatest American Hero, but the big thing for me was the A-Team.
Definitely, and that's next on the hit list.
That was my Saturday night. That was, I remember having the toy cars, and my toy cars, when they would have a crash, would do the A-Team.
The A-Team roll.
Yeah, there was always the crash
would
scene.
always go, up in the air.
Yeah.
Camera shot down below, spin round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Land on its.
Dust yourself
and they
off.
would just dust themselves off.
Because they had to show no one died.
Yeah, there was always a 2-second screen vision of them.
And they were so ahead of their times as well. The fact they introduced Boy George from the UK.
Cowboy George. That's a great episode because Boy George is just absolutely hammered through the whole thing.
Well, so would I be if I was invited out to the US.
But but it was I based my whole life on their teachings, really.
Boy George's.
No, the A-Teams. I think the A-Team is without the A-Team we wouldn't be here now because. Starting to after a little while, you reckon
civilization.
No, as a podcast, because I think that's where after a little while you started spotting the same people coming back as different villains in other shows, and I think that's where it came from. And like, well, who was it? He was in the A-Team. Was he playing the same character in G.J. Cooker? No, he's not. Okay.
Well, but even the fact that within the A-Team they would take that 5 minutes where they'd be locked in a room and have to create
something.
Which spawned into MacGyver and spawned into, in some ways, Mask. You can kind of see the impact that the A-Team had.
Man, it's been done by everyone since, and just the sheer popularity of it. I mean, that was the Star Wars of TV for a while.
Yeah,
there was a good couple of years where. And I don't think they merged it enough. Maybe you had the lunchbox. You had the figures and the bigger figures.
There was 2 sets of figures.
Yeah.
You had the ones that were like yay big.
The big ones.
You can't see this, listener. They were yay big. Then you had the little ones.
The yay big.
Yeah, I had both.
Yay big.
Oh, yay big.
I had both.
Then you had the little ones. Yeah, so did I.
And
you
the
had
baddie ones.
I had the A-Team van in a radio-controlled car.
And you had the baddie figures as well, like the 4 bad ones.
Yeah, I think.
But that was it. But that was all they had.
I don't know.
Like they could have been. You had the van, the Corvette, and the figures.
Don't forget. Initially, it wasn't set up as a kids show. Even in the UK, it premiered. The first season premiered at 8:15 on a Friday night, so it wasn't the tea time kids show that we remember. That it was a prime time, what would now be the equivalent of, I don't know,
Vera.
I was going to say Morse, but that principle. Import it from the States, whack it on at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. It didn't. I don't know when it moved to a Saturday afternoon. tea time slot? I got no idea because I didn't do the research. Because this is not a podcast about the A-Team. This is a podcast about Stephen J.
Cannell.
Or Cannell,
Cannell,
as he pronounces himself in his introductions when he does his own stuff. But anyway, you carry on with the A-Team. I'll just
You talk about the A-Team all night. For me, one of the other series that he did for me was Hunter, because again that was another Saturday night thing, and it was probably one of those padding series, between a Knight Rider and the next release of the A-Team or something. But I remember watching Hunter with my dad, and loving that. Works for me.
Yeah, Fred Dwyer.
Yeah.
So again, Cobra was another one he done with the American ninja himself, Michael Dudikoff, and that was when the traditional judicial system fails, there is an alternative, a special government agency that focuses on the victims. Cobra. It only lasted one series, and basically was Michael Dudikoff being the American ninja, but in like a flashy classic car driving around, a bit like the Saint, but not the Saint because he's a Cobra, and he did ninja stuff. It was like the Saint with ninja shit.
You can see his kind of thing. He's trying everything. He's trying the detective thing. He's trying to go on.
Even went back to kind of combination of that and Cobra when he came up with Stingray as well, which went for 24 episodes, where Ray, played again by Nick Mancuso, someone who's already popped up in Cannell's body of work. He's a man, and it's Ray in speech marks, because he's a man of mystery who gets people out of trouble, asking for favours in return. So there's a bit ominousness, but
depends what their favours are.
Yeah, it wasn't that much. It was on early, so those ties are there. Then obviously, he went complete departure from his normal stuff in the '90s. Well, about '87, I think it was, when he did Wise Guy, which was the sort of mafia kind of
The Sopranos of his day.
Yeah, the Sopranos of his day.
It's that divergence away from that fun. Well, I was going to say fun, that family entertainment. That bit of
this went darker, and it was a lot more graphic at times. with Cannell in it as Vinny Terranova. Jonathan Banks popped up in it, now more famous obviously for that one about the teacher that makes drugs. Yeah, so that was a big show, and that lasted a long time. And again, there was a couple of TV movies out of that, and that was a departure from. But again, a lot of faces popped up through that he'd worked with before, and then what some would argue was one of his greatest works of the late 80s, early 90s, a show called 21 Jump Street. Jump Street touched a lot of issues like drugs, kids, a lot of stuff that weren't normally touched upon in the sort of teenager market, because it might be a bit risky or a bit too.
It was the Degrassi Junior High with a cop show after midnight.
Yeah, definitely. And a personal favourite of mine as well, Renegade, starring Lorenzo Lamas as Reno Reigns, the cop who was good at his job but then made a mistake of testified on the bad cops, and then the bad cops chase him. Dutch Dixon, which was played by Stephen himself, and he would be chasing. So he got by on what his life on the run, being a bounty hunter, whilst he was being hunted himself. So it was almost a vigilante crossover of his previous work, as well as whilst adding the spin of it of being on the run at the same time. It's almost fugitive-like. And the cool thing was, unlike a lot of shows at that time, he actually gets to the end where he catches him and proves his innocence. So it did have an ending, unlike a lot of those shows where they're still running around now looking for freedom or whatever. And then, in the early 2000s, he went back to Hunter. But, an amazing body of work, and that's just the stuff he's created. He's appeared in other stuff as an actor. He's in Diagnosis Murder. He was in Cannell as himself, playing poker every week. And after he died, Castle, that was it. And then they left his chair empty, didn't they, for like the whole season or something as a tribute.
Yeah.
And stuff. So he has done a lot of stuff. and has left a big impact across TV and a little bit in the film world as well, if failed TV pilots turning into movies count. But luckily, as fans, we get to continue to see his work as it it gets rerun on everything. And yeah.
Well, that was the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 28, Classic Idents, Exclusive Contents and Family Laments. Be sure to check us out at the Cult Faction website, and don't forget to stream us on all the streaming services that are available and podcast services that are available. If you do want to send us any emails, then it's cultfactionpodcast@mail.com. I am Paul Hawkins, and I've been joined as ever by
Brett Summers,
Damien Hicks.
And thank you for listening.
Is there not one more thing we need to be mentioning?
Was there a competition?
There's a competition.
There is a huge competition.
Did we leave that to last on purpose?
Maybe
we may have done. Fabulous Films have been very kind to us again, so go check them out. And we have the complete series of Miami Vice to give away on DVD. I know, that sounds a lot, doesn't it? What if I take the complete series of Miami Vice on DVD and
raising the ante.
Then add the complete series of Magnum PI on DVD?
Get out of here!
Can't enter my own competitions.
That's the 2-for-1 super giveaway. And all you got to do is go over to cultfaction.com. There's a big page there with a really tough question on it to win these. So all you need to do to win it, go over to the website. The form to enter is on there. And the question is, in Magnum PI, Jonathan Higgins has 2 Doberman pinchers. What were their names?
Oh man.
True fans will know that one. Most people will be screaming it out now. If you know the answer, get over to cultfaction.com. Enter now. The closing date for it is midnight on the 4th of October 2021. 2 great shows now. He's not created by Stephen J. Cannell, that I'm sure he would have wished he did create. And probably nicked a lot of his ideas. So, yeah, they're up for grabs. So, if you want them, check out the website. But as we said, we're off for now.
Goodbye.
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 Cue the typewriter.
Superman.
Fucking hell.
Smashed it.
Or an fuck off.
Yeah!
Caught him.
You got it. You got it. I want to meet Bill Murray. Hi, Bill. Fuck off. Prick.
More people have got COVID since the vaccine came out than they did in 2010. That's what you can do with stats.
Yeah, man. It's like, I'm like a young hip dude in radio and I present like this. Is this okay, or do you want me closer?
You can't talk about television unless it's for the podcast. The arse has gone wrong.
You're about to get remixed in prison, boy.